Welcome back for another video. So I asked earlier this week who'd like a chip strategy guide, and a huge number of you asked for it. So in this one we're going to look at the 3 remaining double game weeks this season, and we'll break down chip strategies nice and simple, dependent on which chips you've got left. Some of you still sitting on the wildcard, free hit and bench boost, while some of us have just got 1 chip left or perhaps none. So let's start with the 3 remaining double game weeks to come this season. Gameweek 34 has been announced and 7 teams will double, the notable ones being Arsenal and Liverpool, and there's lots of good options from Bournemouth, Palace and Wolves as well. Chelsea and Tottenham have got 2 postponements to be rearranged still, which are expected to fall into Gameweek 35 or 36, and then definitely 37. Gameweek 36 is the predicted week by the Fixture gurus, but we're going to include Gameweek 35 here just in case. So if it's double Gameweek 35, Chelsea will face Villa and Spurs, while Spurs will face Arsenal and Chelsea. If it's double Gameweek 36, then Chelsea will face West Ham and Spurs will face Liverpool and Chelsea. Tons of good FPL picks from both sides here, so it's going to be important to be prepared for that week. And then double Gameweek 37, the second to last gameweek of the season, where 6 teams will double. Brighton, Chelsea, Man City, Man United, Newcastle and Spurs. Loads to be excited about there. There's no overlap in terms of teams doubling in both 34 and 37, so strategizing is going to be important to shift your team from one to the other. So let's step back and look at the full picture with those weeks in mind. Here's how the fixture ticker is expected to look for the remainder of the season. It's helpful to look at the full picture because you can start to spot some good fixture runs, and at this late stage in the season, lots of the players we buy now we're keeping for the remainder. So the simple question is, how do we build towards these fixture runs and double game weeks as best we can with what we've got remaining? There's obviously lots of combination of chips possible, and we're going to cover the main ones here, and we'll still touch on other combinations throughout. We're going to leave triple captain out entirely, we'll cover that at the end. So combination 1 is the wildcard and bench boost available, free hit used. This one fits lots of teams that just used the free hit in Gameweek 29 or perhaps earlier in the season. The proposed strategy is to wildcard in Gameweek 30, 31 or 35. If your team's in bad shape, then consider using it this week or next week to build for the rest of the season. On a Gameweek 30 or 31 wildcard, you can fit in Son, Salah and Haaland, which is a tree that many teams are struggling to field. Those 3 in combination are basically differential in terms of the percentage of players that have all 3. We'll have a look at a wildcard team in a moment. So this leaves the bench boost for Gameweek 34 or 37. Bench boost 37 generally makes more sense, because Spurs blank in Gameweek 34, and you're going to want them for the double game week that comes straight after. Chip combination 2 is all 3 chips available, wildcard, bench boost and free hit. The proposed strategy here is to wildcard this week or next, free hit in Gameweek 34 and bench boost in 37. The strongest position to be in if you've got all 3 chips still. However, on paper, free hit 29 and free hit 34 look pretty weak this season, given how low scoring last week was for the free hitters, but also the fact that wildcarding now basically allows you to build a strong Gameweek 34 team anyway. Combination 3 is wildcard used, bench boost and free hit remaining. The strategy is basically exactly the same, you free hit in Gameweek 34 and bench boost 37. There is some debate about bench boosting in 34 and it's down to preference. But given that Spurs could double literally the following game week, you're going to have no Spurs players on your Gameweek 34 bench boost, and you ideally need 2 free transfers to get at least 2 in. If you've only got your bench boost, then again Gameweek 37 looks the ideal week to use it. If you've only got your free hit left, then it's a case of seeing how many doublers you can get out in 34. If you can get to 8 or 9, then save the free hit for Gameweek 37. So there's lots to think about there, rewind if you need to. Let's have a look at some drafts for the different scenarios. This is a Gameweek 30 wildcard. Again, this strategy is ideal if your team's in bad shape right now, such as no Son, Salah, or you've got defence of bad fixtures this week, which is very common. A lot of teams are activating the wildcard this week. It's Petrovic in goal, Gusto, Porro, Van Dijk, Palmer, Son, Saka, Salah, Garnacho, Solanke and Haaland. On the bench, Raya, Munoz, Cunha and Gabriel. This gives you 8 players that double in Gameweek 34, 5 that double in Gameweek 35 or 36, and then 6 that double in Gameweek 37, and of course lots of free transfers to add as you please. The strategy that I've earmarked is to wildcard in Gameweek 35 and then bench boost Gameweek 37. My free hit's used already. So here's a Gameweek 35 wildcard draft. It's Ederson in goal, Trippier, Lascelles, Dalot, Palmer, Son, Saka and Foden, Isak, Haaland and Højlund up top, Petrovic, Gusto, Porro and Richarlison on the bench. This approach gives you maximum doublers between Spurs and Chelsea in Gameweek 35 or 36, and then it gives you 14 doublers for Gameweek 37 with a view to bench boosting and hopefully scoring massive. One caveat is that if the double drops into Gameweek 36, then of course you could wildcard straight into that week instead of the week before. This can be preferable because then you've got the most up-to-date info going directly into the double, and then it's the minimum gap between wildcarding and bench boosting the next week. The other side of the coin though is if you wildcard in Gameweek 35, you can dead end your team into Gameweek 34. By dead ending we mean buying players that you don't even want for that double. The likes of Cunha, Wang, Eze and Solanke could fall into that category. You want them for the double in 34, but you might not want to carry them beyond that. And then we've got the Gameweek 34 free hit draft, which gets you a full 11 out that have a double game week. Quite a few flags here currently, which should be cleared by them. Pickford, Saliba, Trent, Gabriel, Wang, Salah, Saka, Eze, Cunha, Solanke and Darwin. It helps to lay out a draft because a lot of us already got triple Arsenal, Solanke and Neto, and perhaps buying Salah soon, so you could be well on your way with a strong enough team already. Hence Gameweek 37 free hit might be favourable for some teams. So here's a Gameweek 37 free hit instead. The fixture is not shown under the players yet, so we've included the double Gameweek fixtures next to it. Edison in goal, Trippier, Gusto, Porro, Palmer, Son, Fernandes, Foden, Richarlison, Isak and Haaland as the front two. So it's a full 11 of doublers of course. A lot of variety possible here. We've got Højlund on the bench, and you could make the case for Jackson in the team as well. So if you've got your free hit, see how many doublers you can get out in the week you don't use the chip, and then use it in the week with the maximum upside for you. If you've still got your triple captain, then I'd get it out of the way at the earliest opportunity. So Salah in Gameweek 34 with a double game week against Fulham and Everton. The risk of using it in Gameweek 37 is some teams can rotate at that late stage. Or using City as an example, if they're still in the Champions League, Haaland's minutes could be managed. Last season he started one and was benched one in double Gameweek 37. So those are the chip strategies and some drafts that fit each scenario. If you've got no chips left, there should still be a helpful video as guidance in terms of what to build your team towards. If you're having a difficult season, the good news is that there's some big double game weeks to come still, lots of ground to be made up. There's no need to play reckless for the sake of it, and if you're well prepared for the run-in, you'll do well. There's 15 additional fixtures to be tacked onto upcoming game weeks, including Gameweek 34, which is basically an extra game week and a half. There's been some arguments in the past for a Gameweek 38 free hit, so we'll quickly talk about that. The upside being that you're bound to get loads of early team news, and you can react to absolutely any unexpected benchings, which often happens in the final week. If a team's season's wrapped up, the managers often give the peripheral players a start. However, the Gameweek 38 free hit is pretty season dependent, and this season there's far more upside using it a double game week. Rounding off with some final thoughts on my team. So I've fallen to strategy 1, with my wildcard and bench boost remaining. I've used my triple captain and free hit. This week I've got Dubravka, Van Dijk, Zabarnyi, Porro, Palmer, Saka, Gordon, Son, Solanke, Watkins and Haaland. So as it stands, there's 8 players that double in Gameweek 34, so no immediate rush to wildcard. The plan therefore is to roll this week, and then I'll add a further 2 double Gameweek 34 players in Gameweek 31. Definitely Salah, and then possibly Darwin, which gets me to 10 doublers. And then I'll have 3 free transfers to dabble with to swap a few players around. I'm not looking forward to deciding whether to sell Haaland for a double Gameweek striker in 34 like Cunha, or just roll with 10 doublers in Haaland. And then the plan would be to wildcard in Gameweek 35 or 36 and bench boost 37. Let us know in the comments what your strategy is for the rest of the season. If this was helpful, make sure you subscribe. More FPL content to come like this to guide you through the rest of the season. Thanks for watching and see you soon for the next one.